Hello friends, welcome to LOKAYAN IS Academy. Myself SAURABH SHIRKE. I welcome to this series of UPSC prelim previous year question discussion of subject Indian economy. We have divided this series into various parts. One of the part is external sector. The external sector part is bit bigger. That's why we have divided it into two parts. So today we will discuss first part. Later on we will discuss next part and remaining aspects of Indian economy. So few things you have to consider while during this session, that this session is not about extensive discussion. We are going to establish linkages between various questions. And next important thing, external sector section has some important concepts, so we will understand concepts which can be crucial for upcoming year preliminary examination. Okay, so factual question we will not discuss much, but conceptual question we will discuss in detail. Okay, so let's start. The first question here is on your screen. Rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facility are related to which of the following institution? So correct answer for this is IMF. As I said, this is a factual question, so we will not discuss in much depth. But I will give you one hint, one guideline, that see, there are few important international organizations like IMF, World Bank and WTO. During any prelim exam, you must go through the important initiatives taken by these institutions. Okay, so remember this thing. So answer of the first question is IMF. Let's move to the next question. Okay, so this one is important. With reference to Indian economy, consider following statements. First statement, NIR indicates appreciation of rupee and increase in the REER, that is real effective exchange rate, indicates improvement in the trade competitiveness. And last one, an increasing trend in domestic inflation relative to inflation in other countries is likely to cause an increasing divergence between NIR and REER. So before discussing these statements, we must understand few basic things. As I earlier said, that conceptual question we will discuss in detail. So let's discuss. So understand, this is exchange rate. This is our usual exchange rate, like $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So here we are considering only Indian rupee and American dollar. Now let's come to nominal effective exchange rate, that is NIR. So what is the difference here? That in NIR, as per RBI guidelines of 2021 Jan or March, basket for NIR consists of 40 currencies, various currencies, pound, dollar, yen, etc. We need not to visit those, consider those currencies, because we just have, for UPSC prelim, we just know the basic things about it. So NIR, rupee, and a basket of 40 currencies. Now read real effective exchange rate. Same like nominal GDP and the real GDP, only adjustment of inflation is done in the REER. Inflation is adjusted. Okay, so now let's come to our question. Okay, so let's see, an increase in NIR indicates appreciation of rupee. This one is correct. Second, an increase in the rear indicates an improvement in trade competitiveness. This question is, this statement is wrong because appreciation will reduce the trade competitiveness. How it will reduce the trade competitiveness? We will see in the next question, because that dimension is asked in the next question. So we will discuss over there. Otherwise, explanation of this question will become much lengthy. Third statement, an increasing trend in domestic inflation relative to inflation in other countries likely to cause an increasing divergence between near and rear. As we have seen, the basic difference between near and rear is the adjustment of inflation. So obviously, inflation will definitely cause divergence between near and rear. The third statement is correct, and our answer is C. That is 1 and 3. Okay. So let's see the next question. Okay, with reference to Indian economy, consider following statements. See, you might think this, how can this question be related to external sector, because question pertains to inflation. But here various concepts are interlinked and mixed one, because the first statement you will see see inflation. In second and third statement, there is external concept regarding external sectors. So let's discuss the question. If inflation is high, Reserve Bank of India is likely to buy government securities. Now we see basic concept. We are not going to discuss entirely inflation. To curb inflation. Inflation, why inflation occurs? Because excessive money supply. So to tackle inflation, what we need to do is curb the excessive money supply. And see the first statement. Reserve Bank of India is likely to buy government security. So what will happen when the Reserve Bank of India buy the government securities? The money supply will increase. So that can be a measure to curb the inflation. Okay. So first statement is wrong. And as soon as you eliminate the first statement, see you will get the answer. See, first is wrong. A gone, C gone, D gone. So answer is B. 2 and 3. Now let us discuss why statement 2 and 3 are correct. Also there is important concept of rupee appreciation depreciation. We will discuss in detail, because question regarding that may be asked in the upcoming prelim examination. Now, okay. Now do not write anything. Just focus. After explanation, you can pause the video and take down the notes. Now understand, first we will see rupee depreciation. Rupee depreciation. Okay, what is meant by rupee depreciation? See, if $1 is equal to rupees 75. When rupee depreciates, the value of rupee decreases. Means for earlier with 75 rupees, we would buy $1. But now that 75 rupees is not sufficient. The value has depreciated. Say rupees 80. Rupees 80. Now, why rupee depreciate? So what is the basic reason, basic cause behind rupee depreciation? The shortage of dollars. Shortage of dollar. When supply dollar is less than demand. This is the main reason for rupee depreciation. So can you recall some instances when the supply of dollar may be less and demand will be high? So what are the instances? Say export decrease, import increases, like FDI, FII, foreign institutional investment, remittances, all these things decreases. So when dollar inflow decreases but the demand is high, so the value of rupee depreciates. That's the concept. So what happens when the value of rupee depreciates? See, earlier for buying goods worth $1, we used to pay 75 rupees. Now for the same thing we are paying 80 rupees. Now think conversely. Earlier an American customer with $1 used to buy things worth of 75 rupees in Indian market. Now the same American customer with $1 can buy goods worth rupees 80 in Indian market. So do you got what I am saying? The American customer can buy more things. So this increases that our trade competitiveness. Competitiveness increases with rupee depreciation. This is beneficial for our exporters. So this thing you have to consider. Okay. Now link this with question number question number 2. There in that second statement it was written that, see, I will show you. See, an increase in the real effective exchange rate indicates improvement in trade competitiveness. Here we mark this statement wrong. So reason we have seen in this explanation. So why trade competitiveness not increased? Okay. So similar way, in briefly we will see rupee appreciation also. Same thing. $1, 70 rupees. Now that $1 we can get in 65 rupees. Say 65, 60 rupees, anything. Here value of rupee has appreciated. Now we have to think opposite. Rupee depreciation is caused by shortage of dollars. In rupee appreciation there is surplus of dollars. Surplus of dollars. Why we will have dollars in surplus? Increase in, just opposite of this, all these things. Increase in export, decrease in import, increase in FDI, FII, increase in remittances. So just keep this thing in mind. And here also with rupee appreciation, trade competitiveness will decrease. So what is the reason? We have seen earlier in the first part. Okay, so pause the video, note down the thing, important thing briefly. So let us come back to question. See, first statement we have eliminated and we have understood. So all these explanation we saw for understanding statement number 2 and 3. If the rupee is rapidly depreciating, RBI is likely to sell dollars in the market. We have seen in rupee depreciation there is a shortage of dollars. When RBI will sell dollars in the market, the shortage will be reduced. The step is correct. The second statement is correct. So let's understand third statement. If interest rates in the USA or European Union were to fall, that is likely to induce RBI to buy dollars. This statement is correct. Explanation of this statement we will see in another question, because this theme is repeated there also. This statement is correct. So So let's move to next question. Okay. With reference to G20 Common Framework, consider the following statement. It is an initiative endorsed by the G20 together with Paris Club. It is an initiative to support low-income countries with unsustainable debt. Both statements are correct. See, we had an unprecedented event like COVID-19. COVID-19 shackled the debt sustainability of various nations, hampered very badly. China has put forward this idea in international forum, which was backed by G20, and then this Paris Club, which is a group of creditor nations. They also took part in this initiative. Canada was the first country to take the benefit of this scheme. Both statements are correct. So there is nothing much to discuss. Both statements are factual. So let's move to next question. Which of the following situation best reflects indirect transfer often talked about in media recently with reference to India? This question was in related to retrospective taxation introduced by Pranav Mukherjee in 2013, 2012 something. On the earlier prior to that. My year might be wrong. So India has overdone that recently due to the various cases with Kane Energy, Vodafone case, etc. Correct answer of this is a foreign company transfers such shares to their a foreign company transfers shares and such shares derive their substantial value from assets located in India. See, earlier there was just a minute. There was a company called Hutch in India. This is a Cayman Island based company. And Vodafone bought this company. So you can understand the statement from this example. Vodafone buying substantial shares from a company based in Cayman Island, which derives the value of their assets substantially from India, because Hutch company operates in Indian market, whose ownership is based in Cayman Island. So just for your understanding, I gave this example. Let's move to next question. Okay. See, in question number 4, let's see. In question number 3, I had said you that explanation of this statement we are going to encounter in the next question also. Let's see this. Okay, consider the following statements. Tight monetary policy of US Federal Reserve could lead to capital flight. Capital flight may increase the cost of firms with existing external commercial borrowing. Devaluation of domestic currency decreases the currency risk associated with ECBs, external commercial borrowing. Which of the following statements are correct? So we will first discuss the concept, because without explanation of concept you cannot get the answer of this question. Okay, so if you gone through any random business paper like Business Standard, Economic Times, even the Hindu, Indian Express, often there is term mentioned taper tantrum. Taper tantrum by Fed. Fed is short form for Federal Reserve Bank of USA. Okay, so now there are two parts in this taper tantrum. First is quantitative easing. So in the first part, see the first statement, tight monetary policy of US Federal Reserve could lead to capital flight. Tight, what is meant by tight monetary policy? What is the basic feature of tight monetary policy? Interest rate goes up, right? And dear, okay, and dear money policy. In tight monetary policy, interest rate goes up. See, first one is quantitative easing. Here, interest rates reduced. So what will happen? See, when interest rates in United States reduces, so why would investor invest in the US? So he will see some booming markets like India, China, where interest rates are more. So capital will flow to India. Okay. Capital inflow in India. So understood the reason why capital will inflow in India, because interest rates are low in United States. So investor will see some booming market. So that like India is developing, India, China are aggressively developing. So capital will come to India. So second is Fed tapering. Here the interest rates in United States goes up. Interest rates increases. Now see, if investor has greater interest rates in his home country, then why would he invest? Why would she invest in India, China, etc.? So whatever FIIs which are there in Indian market will move to US. Capital outflow. Capital outflow from India. Now let's see the first statement. Tight monetary policy. What is meant tight monetary policy? It's Fed tapering. Okay. Why I am emphasizing this term? Because MPSC's habit to ask this such a unconventional terms in the prelim examination regarding WTO, IMF. That's why I am emphasizing these terms. Tight monetary policy of US Federal Reserve could lead to capital flight. This statement is correct. We have seen when interest rates goes up, the investor has a tendency to invest in his home country. Capital flight may increase the cost of firms with existing external commercial borrowing. See this capital flight. See, this capital is going away from India. So the inflow of dollar has reduced. So dollar supply is reduced. So there will be shortage of dollar. Like we have seen in the explanation of second question, whenever there is shortage of dollar, rupee depreciates. When rupee will be depreciated, the Indian customer who has taken loan, external commercial loan from say European Union or United States, have to pay more in Indian rupee. So the second statement, capital flight may increase the cost of firms with existing ECBs, is also correct. And third, devaluation of domestic currency decreases the currency risk associated with ECBs. The both statements are exactly contrary to each other. The second statement you have seen, so the capital flight will lead to depreciation of currency, which will increase the cost of ECB. And third statement, devaluation, depreciation, same concept, there is slight difference, but the principle, but the value of rupee depreciation in both of them. The devaluation of domestic currency decreases the currency risk associated with ECBs. Wrong, because explanation we have seen in this second statement. Third statement is wrong. So answer is B, 1 and 2. See, what is important, not the answer of the question, you can get it anywhere. What is important here, to understand the concepts. Pause video, note down the things which you might not know right now. Let's move to next question. Okay, so this one is a bit more conceptual question. We will come back to this at the last moment. The question here is, which among these constitute FDI? See, there is one typing error, but no worry. Sorry, see, there is one committee, Arvind Mayaram committee, which gave recommendations to Government of India regarding which things to consider as FDI and which not. As per the Arvind Mayaram committee, any investment up to 10% or more in listed company can be considered as FDI. Second, investment up to any limit in unlisted company can be considered as FDI. So see the second statement, foreign institutional investment with certain conditions. So these conditions we have discussed here. Second is correct. Okay, see, solve this question by elimination method. See what we have asked for, FDI. See the fourth one, non-resident external deposits. Can it be considered in FDI? So no. If we eliminate this, 4 gone. So where we left, 3 only. So this one is incorrect. This is 2 and 3. 2 and 3, 3 only, or 1, 2 and 3. Second statement is correct. So 3 only gone. See first one. As for Arvind Mayaram committee, you need not to go to the committee recommendation, etc. Just read the first few pages of the committee report, in which it is mentioned the foreign currency convertible bonds also included in FDI. So correct answer for this is 1, 2 and 3. Next question. Okay, the effect of devaluation of currency is that it necessarily. See the explanation of this question you have seen in question number 2, 4, etc. in various questions. So observe here the keyword necessarily. Necessarily is an important keyword in here, because without that word answer may vary of the question. Okay, effect of devaluation of currency is that it necessarily improves the competitiveness of domestic exports in foreign markets. You have seen this aspect. First one is correct. Second, increases the foreign value of domestic currency. No, it's wrong. Because we have seen in the depreciation of the rupee, the value of rupee reduces. This one is wrong. Second, improves the trade balance. Now understand here. Trade balance. When will trade balance improve and when will not is circumstantial. See, for a country like China, exports much more than the imports. So in this case, the devaluation of Chinese currency may be beneficial for them in aspect of trade balance. But consider India. we must be aware that in India exports are much not mu- but are always less than imports during this since independence, because we are not our manufacturing base is weak. So in India exports are less than imports. So if India devalues its Indian rupee, so export we will have many advantage while exporting, but we must consider that we also import a large goods. So there it may hurt us. Okay. So third statement is wrong. So answer is 1 only. Next question. Okay, if another global financial crisis happens in the near future, which of the following action policies are most likely to give some immunity to India? First one is not depending on short-term foreign borrowings. Correct statement. Because if we are largely depending on short-term borrowings and short-term foreign borrowings, and if some crisis happens in foreign country, it will affect us. First statement is correct. Opening up to more foreign banks, that one is wrong, because the crisis has spillover effect, and more we are connected, we can more we are connected, we will face the heat of the crisis. Second statement is correct. Incorrect. Third, maintaining full capital account convertibility. Wrong statement. Answer is 1 only. See, in this aspect, understand convertibility, rupee convertibility, current and capital. See, currently India has 100% current account convertibility, and in capital we have partial. So why this statement is incorrect? Because if you have full capital account convertibility, like current account convertibility, there is 100% capital account convertibility, it may expose us to volatile exchange rates. So that's why statement number 3 is incorrect. During Asian economic crisis during 1997, India escaped from that crisis mainly because we didn't have capital account convertibility. Okay, so third statement is wrong. Answer is 1 only. Last few questions. Okay. See, here we will discuss the approach to tackle such question. Here we are not going to discuss anything. So read the statement. The value of Indo-Sri Lanka trade had consistently increased in the last decade. We do not keep check on with which country India's trade is increasing, decreasing for such a longer period, last decade. Textile and textile articles constitute an important item of trade between India and Bangladesh. Okay, in the last 5 years, Nepal has been the largest trading partner of India in South Asia. See now see the approach behind solving this question. The value of Indo-Sri Lanka trade has been consistently increased for the last decade. See, during a decade, variety of things can happen. So it is highly unlikely that during such a long period, the trade is consistently increasing. So we can negate this statement. Second statement, textile. Textile and Bangladesh, we know. Textile and article constitute large trade. See, Bangladesh economy has revived largely, mainly because of textile industry. Second statement, we can mark correct. Third one, in the last 5 years, Nepal has been the largest trading partner of India in South Asia. Now here, just think in this way. Just see, India has many neighboring countries. Among them, Nepal is one. There is Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Nepal is mainly Himalayan country. with less economic activities. Can Nepal be India's largest trading partner in South Asia? So we can mark the statement as wrong. So how can we approach the statement question? See, we know the second statement is correct. So this one is gone, 3 only. And with logic, we have concluded the first statement is wrong. So only one option remains, it is second only. So B is the answer. See, every time you may not have the adequate knowledge to solve the question, but due to that fact, you shouldn't leave the question. Just think logically and solve the question. Let's move to next question. With reference to foreign direct investment in India, which one of the following is major characteristic? Okay. The core part of this question we discussed in earlier. We see Arvind Mayaram committee, important recommendation, 10% in listed and investment in unlisted. We will solve this question by eliminating. Okay. It is the investment through capital instruments. See, here is not 1, 2, 3, 4, is A, B, C, D. Okay. It is the investment through capital instrument essentially in a listed company. This statement is wrong. We have seen earlier 10% or more in listed company and any investment in unlisted company. It is largely a non-debt creating flow. This one is correct. Third, C, it is an investment which involves debt servicing, no FDI, no debt servicing. Because see, I will tell you just a bit. It is the investment made by foreign institution investors in government securities. Wrong. See, even if you do not have any idea of this question, read statement option B and C. The totally opposite. So one of them will be the answer of the question. See, second statement is saying is a non-debt creating capital flow, and third is saying is debt servicing. So can it be possible both contrary statements existing at the same time? So one of them will be action, one of them will be answer, and among them the second one is correct. This is non-debt creating capital flow. Next question. Okay, this one is also we have to solve it logically. With reference to international trade of India at present, which of the following statements is or are correct? See, here you have to aware with regular newspaper reading, your lectures or anything, and bit of common sense. So without going through 4 statements, read the second statement. India's imports of iron, steel, chemicals, fertilizer, machinery have decreased in recent years. Can it be possible? India is a fast emerging economy. India is rapidly increasing, and for increasing our growth rate, we are conducting various developmental activities. With such condition, can it be possible that our import regarding iron, steel, chemical, fertilizer and machinery decrease in recent year? The major importer of these fertilizers and chemicals. Second statement is wrong. So eliminate this B and A. Now remain C and D. Okay, India's merchandise exports are less than its merchandise import. Correct statement. We have seen it in earlier. Third, India's exports of services are more than its import of services. Correct. India is an IT hub and we are major exporter of IT services. 4. India suffers from an overall trade current account deficit. Correct statement. See, India, this is the first part of external sector. In the second part of external sector, we will briefly understood balance of payment and its component. So we will have a detailed discussion in that part. But for right now, just understood that India suffers from overall trade or current account deficit. Okay. So answer is 1, 3 and 4. Second statement is wrong. And I have told you the logic. I have told you the logic behind wrongness of the second statement. Next question. with reference to trade related investment. This one is also a factual question. See here what we have to do. Quantitative restrictions on imports by foreign investors are prohibited. Okay, we may know, may not know. They apply to investment measures related to both goods and services. This one is wrong because it applies to only goods. They are not concerned with regulation of foreign investment. Okay. See, as soon as you eliminate the second statement, you reach to answer. So option C is correct, and I have attached a screenshot. You can see from WTO website related to TRIMS. This agreement negotiated during the Uruguay round applies only to measures that affected trade in goods, not services. Okay, this is the answer. Second last question. With reference to Indian economy after 1991 economic liberalization, consider the following statement. This is not a core external sector question, but still I have included it. It concerns with certain aspects of liberalization, etc. Read the fourth statement. Worker productivity increase within that particular period. Percentage share of rural areas in the workforce steadily increase. In rural areas, the growth of non-farm economy increase. The growth rate in rural employment decrease. See, we do not have go in such a depth and study that during such a period such thing happen and etc. Here also we have to think logically. See, read the third statement. In rural areas, the growth of non-farm economy increase. Obvious statement is bound to be correct. Because earlier in rural area there were only farm activities. But right now with various government schemes, non-farm economy activities are increasing. Third statement is correct. As soon as you mark the third statement correct, you can eliminate option A and D. A gone, D gone. So now remains B and C. The growth rate in rural employment decreased. See, the statement is not the rural employment decrease, but the growth rate of rural employment. This one is correct. Answer is 3 and 4. If the statement was like if rural employment has decreased, then it will be wrong. It would have been wrong. But the growth rate has been asked, and the growth rate has reduced. So fourth question. So the answer is B, 2 and 3. Now we will see the last question, which we have skipped earlier, 7th question. Let's see that. Okay. In India, India government bond. Okay, here is in India, government bond yields are influenced by which of the following? Actions of the United States Federal Reserve, actions of the Reserve Bank of India, inflation and short-term interest rates. Okay, so the concept of bond yield is much wider and bigger. You will read various types of definition. But regarding bond yields, from UPSC perspective, remember 2-3 facts. This one is last question. Bond yield. Bond yield nothing but the percentage outcome. Percentage outcome on the. So see briefly bond yield. This is the annual percentage expected on the bond. Okay, another important fact regarding bond yields. Bond yield inversely proportional to bond price. Okay, and higher the bond yield, Generally, I am saying it will not be beneficial for economy. Okay, these things you have to consider. So the answer of this question is 3. D, like all these actions affect the bond yield. We will see briefly how the actions of the United States Federal Reserve affect the bond yields in India. Okay, this one is important. Understand carefully. Do not write anything. See the explanation, then pause the video and note down the important thing. Okay. So in the earlier question we have C, taper tantrum. Okay. So Fed Reserve actions. Fed actions. Quantitative easing. In quantitative easing, interest rates reduces. So when interest rate in United States reduces, there is a capital inflow in India. Capital inflow. In India. So when there is more capital inflow in India, the demand for government securities will increase. GSEC demand will increase. When the demand for securities will increase, obviously the price will also increase. Bond price increase. In the earlier slide, we have seen how bond price is inversely proportional to bond yield. From MPSC perspective, we need not to understand how that bond price is inversely proportional to bond yield. We can discuss that, but the solution of the question, the explanation of this question will become much lengthy. So for right now, just remember the bond yield is inversely proportional to bond price. So as bond price increases, the bond yield reduces. So understood? See how the Fed action of quantitative easing lead to bond yield decrease in India. Now the second action, Fed tapering. You have seen in Fed tapering, interest rates goes up. Interest rates increases. Okay, so as soon as interest rate, see if interest rate is more in the home country like US, EU, the investor will invest there. So capital will outflow from India. Capital outflow from India. So the capital outflow from India will reduce the demand of government securities. GSEC demand reduced. As the demand of government securities reduce, the bond price will also reduce. Since bond price is inversely proportional to yield, bond yield will be increased. So see how the action of US Fed Reserve affects bond yield in India. With quantitative easing, bond yield reduces. With Fed tapering, bond yield increases. The increase in bond yield is not desirable thing because increasing bond yield affects increase in bond yields increases the government's cost of borrowing. Also, increasing bond yield affects increases the cost of corporate bonds also, cost of borrowing of corporate bonds also. So the bond yield increasing is not a good thing for Indian economy. Just remember this, because UPSC is habit to further extend the concept in the upcoming prelims. Like in for some year you will they will ask concept X. In the next year they will ask the implications of concept X. So that's why I am explaining. Understand the implications of increase in bond yield and decrease in bond yield. So this is not a desirable thing, because it increases the cost of government borrowing, also private borrowing. So this is how the statement. This is the explanation of statement 1. This is where the US Fed Reserve action increases or reduces the bond yield. Second statement is correct. Actions of Reserve Bank of India is also increases the bond yield. More detailed explanation of this second statement we will see in the part of monetary policy, because there also we are going to discuss same thing, how monetary policy, that the Reserve Bank's India's monetary policy influence the bond yields. And third one is obviously correct. Inflation and short-term interest rates also affects the bond yield. So answer is 3. Answer is D. Option number D. Okay, so in this lecture we discussed around 15 questions regarding external sector. Still 12-13 questions pertaining to external sector yet remain. We will discuss in the second part. So what you have to see, you have to establish interlinkages between these various questions and understand the concept. Don't go for just answer. Understand the concept and learn it properly, because in the next lecture you can understand how these questions concepts are repeated further, like depreciation of rupee. Once you understand the depreciation of rupee, you can solve any question, and in the next lecture you will see how the concept of rupee depreciation, external commercial borrowing increasing, decreasing are repeated in past 10 years. So that's all for this lecture. Thank you all for patiently listening to the lecture and watching the lecture. Thank you.